This is our place, come on in. Our place, so glad you're here. Our place, everybody's welcome. We see God on every face. Love lives here in this place. Welcome to our place, our sweet place.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Reverend Jody Hill Stevenson, and I'm so glad that you joined us today. This is such a special community here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Boulder Valley. I am the senior consulting minister, and I have so enjoyed our time together. So this is the first Sunday, if you will, of November. And I wanted to share with you what Dr. Ernest Holmes writes in 365 Science of Mind. He is the founder of the Science of Mind philosophy, which is what we teach, and some of us preach about it, and all of us live it to the best of our ability, because the philosophy is so positive, it's so loving, and it's so wonderful. So Dr. Ernest Holmes writes, an attitude of gratitude is most salutary and bespeaks the realization that we are now in heaven. So the quality for November is gratitude. He goes on to say, there is something in this attitude of thanksgiving that carries us beyond the field of doubt into one of perfect faith and acceptance, receptivity, and realization. Doesn't that sound like Dr. Ernest Holmes? Anyway, come on into our service. We have a wonderful day planned for you. We have an amazing speaker. And of course, the music is always fabulous, as are our wonderful practitioners. Come on in. We'll see you inside.
Welcome. I'm Kelly Robbins, your practitioner today, and we are going to begin our service with an invocation. If you'll please join me, we'll set the space and the tone for our service today. If you can close your eyes and take a breath and breathe in the energy and the presence of the divine, that feeling, that knowingness of God ever present in each and every one of us, in the connections that we have today via the internet, via the recordings and the Zoom and our presence together, knowing that God is present, is working, that energy is forever alive and expansive and exuberating its qualities, the qualities of God right here, right now, no matter what method we are connecting or watching or listening to this today. There's a beauty and a calmness and a peace in knowing this truth. And as I declare these words and open this service, invoking the presence of Spirit, knowing that God is here and blessing each and every one of us to hear the right words, hear the right music, the right feeling at the right time. Knowing that this service is blessed, I release these words to the law, and so it is. And now, if you will recite with me, it's time for our purpose, mission, and vision. So if we can all read along together. Our purpose: celebrating divinity, embracing humanity, and creating community. Our mission: providing tools and a support to awaken our community to its spiritual magnificence. And our vision: inspiring and uplifting every one of us to transform the world. Just breathe that in. Those are powerful words, powerful statements that we set our intention as a community for the difference we make in this world. And as we kind of recognize and honor those words, I bring to your attention the candle and the flame, which represents the Spirit of God, that divinity that is here through our purpose and mission and vision, through each and every one of us as we in our own unique and creative ways, express this purpose, vision, and mission to the world. And now for our reading today. This reading is from Ernest Holmes, our founder, from a book he's written called This Thing Called You. You are part of the universal mind, one with the universal substance. You live, move, and have your being in pure spirit. All the wealth, the power, and the goodness of this spirit exists at the center of your being. You experience this good in such degree as you accept, believe in, and feel it. Since the only life you can have is the life of the spirit within you, you need but permit its radiance to flow through your thought into self-expression. You are surrounded by a dynamic force, a great surge of living power. You are immersed and saturated with the vital essence of life. Its presence permeates everything, binding all together in one complete whole. As you enter into life, feeling the divine presence in everything, more and more you will hear a song of joy singing at the center of your being. You have only to be still and listen to the song of life, for it is always there. This is a prayer from Ernest Holmes that goes along with the reading. Knowing that the loving presence is always closer to me than my very breath, I have nothing to fear. I feel this loving protection around me. I know that the song of joy, of love, and of peace is forever changing its hymn of praise and beauty at the center of my being. Therefore, I tune out of my mind all unhappy and negative ideas. I turn on the dial of my thought into the sunshine of life, into brightness and laughter, into the joyous presence of radiant spirit. I lay aside all anxiety, all striving, and let the law of divine love operate through me into my affairs. Joyfully, I anticipate greater abundance, more success, and a deeper peace. Joy wells up within my mind, and life sings its song of ecstasy in my heart. I thought that was beautiful. I wanted to share that prayer with you. And now we'll take a moment for our affirmation. And I will read the affirmation. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. I will read it twice. If you'd like to recite it with me the second time and really embody the affirmation, that would be beautiful. Not required. And then we'll have a moment of silence. So our affirmation: I am a bright and wonderful expression of the divine. I am a bright and wonderful expression of the divine.
Alleluia, 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 alleluia. Hallelujah. We are one now. We are one now. We are one now. We
Hallelujah. Thank you. And now we will move into our prayer, our treatment. So if you want to close your eyes and take a breath, and we're going to get grounded again. As we breathe in that presence of God. We breathe in that life, that more life that we were talking about earlier from Ernest Holmes, and knowing and feeling and embodying, what does that mean? How do I feel that? How do I embody this more life? For it is an inherent part of our very nature. That joy, that beauty, that abundance, that love, that is who we are. That is who I am. That is who you are. And as we realize this truth, as we really think about what that means and lean into feeling these qualities and knowing them, we strengthen ourselves, we strengthen our faith, our oneness, our connection with God, with the divine. And as we do this for ourselves, we bring that to those around us. We bring that to our community. We bring that to our center, for the Center for Spiritual Living Boulder Valley. As each one of us strengthens and leans into our power, our center grows all the more stronger. Our reach, our ability to connect and commune and help and serve reaches more and more. And we truly are brighter lights, brighter beings of God, as we are here to be. As I know this oneness, as I see and feel and connect with this oneness in each of us, I realize the truth of who we really are and give thanks for this truth. I give thanks for the Center for Spiritual Living Boulder Valley. I give thanks for each and every one of us for leaning into that more life, to more power, abundance, all those qualities that are innately ours, that are God. I receive and know and embody them with ease for myself and for each of us. And as I give thanks for these truths, as I give thanks for this message that we are here to embrace and embody and listen to today and receive, I know that the divinity, that God is here present. And as I release this word to the law, I know without a shadow of a doubt that these words spoken are true, and it is done, and so it is.
Together as a family, we come here as we are. We come with arms wide open. We gather here in love. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Raise the roof with shouts of praise, Spirit's in this place. And we sing in celebration. Sing words of praise. We affirm our life as sacred. You know we do, and we declare peace is here. Right where we are now, Spirit is in this. Spirit's in this place. In this place. Spirit's in this. Spirit's in this place. Shouts of praise, Spirit's in this place. Raise the roof with shouts of praise, Spirit's in this place. In this place.
In October of 1988, I was a senior minister at the Portland Church of Religious Science, a long time ago. And on a particular Sunday, we were actually celebrating my first year anniversary there, all of us. It was just a wonderful occasion. And I used to have a hug line. In the hug line, this beautiful young woman came up to me. I gave her a big hug and she said, "This is my first Sunday here." I felt that click. You know how you just meet someone and they just click. So what has happened since that fateful Sunday morning, Robin Ryan has gone on to be, without a doubt, one of my best students ever. I even rearranged some class times so that she could be there because her story is amazing. She has gone on to be a dear friend, friend of the family's, just such an amazing, powerful, beautiful manifester of life. I am so happy to be bringing you Reverend Robin Ryan. Have fun and fasten your divine seatbelt because her story will send you flying.
Good morning. Have you ever thought deep down inside that you weren't quite as good as anyone else? I did. Have you ever harbored a secret way down inside that says, if anyone really knew me, they wouldn't like me anymore? I did. I spent my entire childhood convinced I wasn't good enough at anything. Convinced that if anyone ever really knew me, they'd throw me out of the club. Now, I'm not sure what the club, does that mean the world and they'd pitch me off the side? I don't know, but it didn't sound good to me. And so I hid that part of myself all growing up. Have you ever felt that way? I wasn't doing well in school anyway, so I kind of quit trying. And I didn't seem to be able to please my father, so I quit trying there too. And I let my rebel part of myself lead the way in school, which was not ideal. And in hindsight, I see I was so unfair to myself. I compared myself to everyone, but I didn't do it fairly. For example, in math class, I would compare myself to the smartest kid in math class. His name was Stephen. And I'm nowhere near as good as Stephen. I'm an idiot. Well, then we get to art class. And did I compare myself to Stephen? Oh no. I compared myself to Julie. She was the best artist in the class. So I'm an idiot again. I'm not good at anything. Oh, how unfair. How often do you do that in your life? Compare unfairly, and you don't come up shining. Well, I'm shocked to this day that I managed to graduate from high school by the skin of my teeth, I might add. But my biggest goal in high school, and they wouldn't even print it in the yearbook, I don't know why. Normally they put your little goals under your picture in the yearbook, and mine was to get a job in a factory, party my weekends away, and never see the inside of a school again. And I did that for a couple years, and I had a good time. It was fun. But after a couple of years, I looked around at my so-called party friends. They were really more acquaintances than they were dear friends. And I realized that they were doing that for life. And I thought, oh, I don't want to do this for life. I've got to do something else. I don't know what, but it shouldn't be this. And so I started looking at colleges. And okay, I thought, what could I do here? What's an easy, short college course of a career that I could actually like? And so I signed up for veterinary technician. It was a 2-year course. And I thought, I think maybe I can do that. But I had serious doubts because here I was living on my own. So I had to work full time to pay the rent. I had to go to school full time. And then I was going to have to study. And I had no study habits. I never developed any in school. I never thought I could, so I never tried. But even though I was certain I couldn't do it, I had to try because I didn't want to stay where I was. And then something magical happened. At the time, I was a cocktail waitress, and I got to chatting with one of my customers on a slow night. And we got to talking about aviation. And I told him, oh, flying. My girlfriend and I, we're going to buy an airline ticket to the nearest city and back because we've never been in an airplane and it really looks fun. And he says, oh, you don't need to do that. He says, I'm a mechanic for a small flight school and we offer introductory flight lessons for $5. All you have to do is tell them you're sort of interested in learning to fly. And I said, sign me up, I'm going. And so I was joyriding. So I showed up at the flight school and my instructor took me out to the airplane. And this little airplane was so tiny and so light that he says, oh, I want to face it the other way. And he literally picked up the tail and spun the tail around to face the airplane going the other way. And I thought, oh my goodness, is that going to hold us? But I climbed in anyway. And we taxied out and took off. And after takeoff, we're climbing out, and I'm looking out the windows going, wow, this is really fun. I was hoping it would be fun, and yeah, this is cool. I like it. And then the instructor said, your turn. I said, well, me? He says, yeah, go ahead. Take the controls, and I'll talk you through a few easy maneuvers. And I said, oh, I can't do that. And I didn't tell him what I was thinking. What I was thinking is, I can't fly airplanes. I'm just a dumb girl. He says, no, go ahead. I have dual controls here. I'll keep you out of trouble. Go ahead and try it. So I put my hands on the controls, and that was my magical moment. It was like giving a heroin addict their first injection. I fell so hard in love that I thought, I've got to do this. And so he talked me through some climbs and descents and turns, and we went ahead and landed. And I told the instructor, I said, I've got to do this, but I can't afford it for fun, but I can afford it if it's my career. And I was going to go to college for vet tech, but I'd rather do this. What are my chances? What careers can I have out there? And he says, well, there aren't any careers here. I used to fly Learjets, and now look at me, I'm a flight instructor. And he looked like that was the worst job in the world. And I don't know, to my eyes, I thought that's not true. He gets to fly airplanes. But on the taxi out, I had noticed there were other flight schools in the airport. So I called up one of the other flight schools and I signed up. And yes, they had another introductory flight lesson for $5. And I took them up on their introductory lesson. And I got my hands on the controls, and it was that same feeling. Oh, I have to do this. This is just magic for me. And at the end of the flight, I talked to this instructor, and he was actually the owner of the school. And I said, you know, I can't afford to do this for fun, but I can for a living. And he said, well, you know, times are tough, but if you want it badly enough, you can probably find a way. So I signed up with him. So then day one of my very first lesson, I show up, and he wasn't going to be my instructor. He introduced me to my first instructor, and here shows up this young man straight out of the Air Force. I was his very first student, and he was a young, good-looking guy, and I thought, oh my God, Now I not only have to learn how to fly, but I want to impress this guy too. So I had double the stress on myself because I wanted to look good. So I got started with flying lessons, and it was relatively easy at first because you start with the very basics. But then it got more important to me, like learning to land. And every time I made a mistake, I was just devastated. That little voice in me would just say, "What makes you think you can fly airplanes? You're just a dumb girl." And as a matter of fact, it even used dumb blonde in there too. And I would drive away from my lessons crying all the way home because I was convinced that I couldn't do it. But the magic was that this love in me was so huge that even though I was convinced I couldn't do it, it never occurred to me to not get back in the car and drive to the flight school for my next lesson and stumble through all the mistakes. Now, it's a funny thing about mistakes. A confident person makes a mistake and they say, "Oh, I made a mistake." And then your brain automatically looks at possible ways to do it differently next time. I, on the other hand, would make a mistake and just be devastated on the inside because I was convinced that I was the mistake. And that is a very different way of living life. Have you ever felt that? That you were the mistake? And it colors then how you do so many things. I feel so fortunate that spirit was involved in this. It enticed me every step of the way. And so my goal was to be a flight instructor. That was my top goal. And first I had to make it through private pilot certificate. And then I wanted to be a flight instructor, and that was my biggest goal. And every step along the way, I would make a mistake and think, "Oh, I am such an idiot. I can't do this." And I would talk to other students who were going through their training, and I would tell them, "Oh, you know what I did?" And I would tell them about some stupid mistake I made. And they would look at me and go, "Oh, yes." And I thought, when am I going to be perfect like them? And it didn't occur to me till much later. They just weren't telling me about their mistakes. So I really wanted this, and I thought, I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep going. And I'm here to tell you that I flew past that goal and beyond. Not only did I make it to private pilot and a flight instructor, but I'm now a pilot for United Airlines, and I fly the jumbo jets all around the world. So I'm here to tell you that whatever your desires are, that's inside you, and that means it's doable. That's how spirit works. I was fortunate that I had something that was so large in me that I never questioned that I had to try. But you know, I looked at this, and I've told so many people this since. If I had known before that first lesson that I was going to go on to become an international airline pilot, I'd have run straight for my bed, I'd have jumped in, I'd have covered my head and never come out again, because it would have been too scary. But I didn't know that. I'm happy to say I just kept going along the way. I finally made flight instructor, and it was through that I started to realize that I had talent. And before, I was just stumbling along thinking, I'm barely making it, but I'm making it. And it wasn't until later that I realized that I was good at it. And I've come to know that that's how spirit works. is if you have desire for something, you also have the inner talent to not only do it, but do it well. So a couple things I'd like to talk to you about, and that is, how do you go for your goals? Whether it's a big, lofty career goal, or whether it's a goal of, what do I want to accomplish today? I want to clean the house. If you look at the entire picture, very often it's too big. And a lot of people don't. Since I became an airline pilot, I started doing talks around the community, and I started talking to people no matter where I was, and they say, "Oh, you're an airline pilot? Oh, you're so lucky. I hate my job." And I would ask them, "Well, what would you rather do?" And they'd tell me, and I'd say, "Well, why aren't you doing it?" And they would reach into their little pocket and pull out these reasons, excuses, why they couldn't do that. And I thought, wow, I'm so fortunate that I didn't know all that I couldn't do at the time. And I realized that their excuses were more important to them, or shall I say, the fear was more important to them than reaching the goal. And one of the reasons that I feel that this gets in people's way is because of a common teaching these days on how to set goals and how to reach your goals. And this common teaching is such a lie. They tell you to set out 5-10 years ahead of time what you want to accomplish, and then break it down year by year until you go, okay, first year 1, I have to have done all this, and year 2, and so forth, so that you have a whole setup of how you're going to reach your goal. And that might work some of the times. I'm sure it does. However, when you keep your eyes on the long goal, if it's a juicy enough goal, that can be too scary. And that will stop so many of us. Whereas if you look at the goal, that thing that makes you excited inside. And by the way, if your goal, especially if it's a career goal, doesn't really excite you, you're not reaching high enough. I have talked to so many people who they reach for the ceiling lamp when it's the stars they really want, but they're convinced they can't make it. So if you feel on the inside really excited about something, and also really scared and not sure you can make it, that's the one. That's the one. Go for that one. Because in the process of stepping through all the steps to get there, you expand as a person. I expanded. I started to realize that my thinking was my limitation, not me. It was my thought patterns. And thought patterns are changeable. I looked at, for example, how I compared. And now I know better. I don't compare with other people. I compare with me. How did I do yesterday? How did I do today? And that is a fairer comparison. And as for setting goals, set the long, lofty one, but then forget about everything in between. And ask yourself one question and one question only. What is the smallest next step I need to take to step towards that goal? And if it feels unreachable, it's too big, set a smaller goal. It might mean make the phone call to check out the flight school. When you set your goals or your next step small enough, and it feels so reachable, and then it's not scary, you make that one step towards that goal. Now you have maybe new knowledge, new confidence, and so you have double the tools in your pocket to set your next smallest step. And that is powerful goal setting is don't try to figure out all the way, everything you're going to do in the meantime, because each step along the way, you gain in wisdom and knowledge of what the next step needs to be. And you couldn't possibly know all of that from the beginning. And this is the way of the Tao, because the Tao says, be here right now. Be where you are. Don't be in the lofty goal 5 years away. Don't even be in the year or the week. Be in the now. What do I do now? And when I remember to ask myself, what do I do now? Then I have peace. I have joy. When I forget that, when I expand into the future too much, especially something that seems difficult or scary, my peace goes away, my joy goes away. I am not in the now. I'm worried about the future. What is something you want to do with your life? Is it big or small? It doesn't matter. What it matters is how you feel on the inside. And even small things that excite you. That is the divine speaking through you, giving you a roadmap to your next step. Do listen. Step towards that. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that we are all so much more magnificent than we have any knowing of when we're young. I had no idea I could accomplish what I did. And along the way, because I kept stepping higher and higher and higher and reaching these goals, I started knowing that I was not a mistake. I started knowing that, maybe there's some magnificence in there. And I started living as though I am magnificent. And the more I live in that, the more I see it around me. There's one more little fun thing that's helpful, and that is, who do you hang out with? One of the big stepping stones for me, or stepping blocks, I should say, is hanging out with people who don't see your magnificence, but instead they criticize. Do you hang out with critical people? How's that working for you? I started hanging out with people who, even in my dark moments, because we all have them, even in my dark moments when I'm not so sure I can do something, my friends now say, piece of cake, Robin. I believe in you. And they don't say it in those words, but that's how it comes across, that they know who I truly am. So who are you hanging out with? Are they supporting you in knowing your magnificence? Or are they supporting you in staying stuck in your limitations? I highly invite you to consider that in who you're hanging out with. And the other thing too, of course, is question your thoughts. Those thoughts that I was so certain was me saying I'm just a dumb girl, that wasn't me. That was recordings of things I had heard over time and put together in a new way, so I thought it was mine. That wasn't mine. That was just a recording. And I can always change my thoughts. So question your thoughts. That's also being in the Tao. Is knowing that the brain is just such a tiny part of who we are. We are so much more than that. We are spirit expressing, and it comes from here, not just here. So I invite you to look at, how are you magnificent? What are all the ways that you are magnificent that you're not noticing? And I invite you to hang out with people who help you find your magnificence, help you move towards it, love you for who you are, not for who they're afraid you might be stuck in. And finally, love yourself, because you are love in action. Namaste.
You've given me wings to fly, a song to sing, the way that you touch my life means everything. And with my wings spread wide, now I know I will always have wings to fly. Before I knew the light of you in my life, I never realized all that I could do with my life. I was lonely, so lonely. I never knew which way to turn. Should I cross that bridge or let it burn? Then you gave me wings to fly, a song to sing, the way that you touch my very life means everything. And with my wings spread wide, now I know I will always have wings to fly. I look up and see slivers of golden sun. It makes me know that I'm a part of everything and everyone I never knew before. Life was such an open door, just waiting for me. Opportunity. Now I feel like I can soar, 'cause you've given me wings, wings, wings to fly. Now
invite you now to join me in making a sacred, soulful investment, a giving from the heart, if you will. We know that we live in a lavishly abundant universe and that we are each individualized expressions of the one. And as we give our tithes and our contributions to the Center for Spiritual Living Boulder Valley, we give to a greater expression of life. We actually exist to serve humanity and to serve all of life, the animals, the planet, each other. That's our purpose. So the gifts that we give always bless the giver and the receiver, and know that your tithes and your wonderful gifts of financial support uplift the consciousness of humanity. So there are many ways to give. You can give through PayPal, texting, you can send a check, you can push the button that says donate, and we'll be sure and get that. So please put your tithe, either energetically or literally, at your heart, and join me in saying, this perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive. Thank you so much for being a part of our community. Thank you, dear Robin. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, everyone. Ethan, none of this would happen without you. So thank you so much, everyone. And I have really just one announcement for you, and that is we're doing a very special service celebrating the soul of America tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. So please join us. You can get the link on our newsletter, and let's just wind everything down that's happened in this last year and focus on the sweet, sweet soul that we call America. So hope to see you then. And for lots of all the other events that are happening, check out our newsletter. All right, we'll see you soon. Thanks.
And thank you. As a final note, I would like to remind or inform each and every person out here that we practitioners, myself, and there are several others, are here to help remind you of your beacon of light, your connection to God. If you have something you would like prayer on, feel free to email the Center for Spiritual Living Boulder Valley or any of us individually. We are listed on the website. Whether you want more of something good or you'd like help working through something going on, we are available. So reach out to your practitioners at Center for Spiritual Living Boulder Valley.
So that's it for our service today. I'm so glad you joined us. So this week, just realize how completely and totally wonderful you are, and how wonderful our sweet planet is, and how wonderful our country is as we go through this next week of high energy. Wear your masks, stay healthy, and know how loved you are. We'll see you Monday night, hopefully. See you then. Bye.
And now for our benediction.
I now walk so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God. I now listen so that whoever speaks with me knows that I hear the voice of God. Whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness. For Spirit and I are one eternally, and so it is. Well, I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here. I said I'm only here. One more time. I said I'm only here for God.
Original music written and performed by Karen Karsh. Copyright held by Karen Karsh Crystal Music. All rights reserved.
Love lives here!